How different would the world of Naruto be if Jiraiya never died? How would the final arc of the Pain Saga actually unfold if Jiraiya chose to escape instead of fighting the 6 Paths of Pain? Well, in today's edition of Naruto What If, I'm going to take a look at just that scenario. Now, in order for this to happen, we have to establish a trigger point. The best option, in my opinion, is during the events of chapter 381 of the Naruto manga. It's in this chapter that we see Jiraiya was hiding inside of his toad summoning, and he could have chosen to escape if he wanted to, but instead we all know that he chose to go back out inside in order to confirm his suspicions about the Rinnegan. If Jiraiya were to choose to escape via his toad summoning, perhaps even going so far as to have himself reverse summon himself back to Mount Myoboku, then we could have had a drastic implication as far as changes on the story going forward. After getting his wounds tended to, Jiraiya would have returned back to Konoha to give Tsunade his intel on the 6 Paths of Pain and state it was only a suspicion, but he believed the leader of the Akatsuki to be his former student Nagato. Konoha would not have to waste as much time as they did trying to decode Jiraiya's message and could instead focus all of their efforts on coming up with a countermeasure for the 6 Paths abilities that Jiraiya did happen to know about. On top of that, Jiraiya would have thought to bring back the body of Pain that he defeated, which now Tsunade, armed with the intel about Pain, Tsunade could have directly oversaw the medical examination of Pain. This likely leads to Konoha discovering the secret about the chakra receivers a lot sooner than they did in the original story. While all of this is going on, Jiraiya would approach Naruto with the idea of learning Sage Mode. Master and student would travel to Mount Myoboku. Seeing how quickly Naruto took on to learning Sage Mode would inspire Jiraiya to put all of his effort into his own training, eventually doing what he couldn't do in the original story, which is master Sage Mode and become what is known as a perfect sage. Seeing how the QB was once again proving to be a problem for Naruto, Jiraiya would make a mental note to push Naruto harder in the months ahead to master the QB chakra. But seeing his student use shadow clones to gather nature energy would put his mind at ease about Naruto going into battle against Pain. Seeing Naruto perfect his Rasen Shuriken would bring back his own memories of Minato, which I do believe would lead to Jiraiya telling Naruto the truth about who his father actually was. This would give Naruto quite a bit to think about, but Jiraiya being there would soften the blow, and Naruto would be receptive to the fact that his father did seal the QB inside of him to protect the village, which would then lead to Jiraiya answering a lot of questions about Minato. While Naruto's urgency to learn Sage Mode wouldn't be as high in this scenario, I do think that he would take this training very seriously since Jiraiya would be missing an arm, and that would tell him everything he needed to know about the power of his enemy. During Pain's invasion of Konoha, the story would take an even drastic change for the further. Konoha would now be on the lookout for multiple attackers, and they wouldn't fall for Pain's tactic of using a diversion team and a hunt team. Having knowledge of some of the Rinnegan jutsu would allow them to further counter some of the 6 Paths of Pain when they did fight. Now, in the manga, we know that Team Guy was sent away on a mission, but we don't know the details of the mission, when it was given to him, or the nature of that mission. I don't believe them being in Konoha would be possible. This would mean that Kakashi would still find himself dying in the battle against Pain, and Pain would then go on to destroy Konoha, with Naruto and Jiraiya being summoned at the last possible moment due to Danzo destroying the messenger toad before he can go and tell Jiraiya to return with Naruto. With Jiraiya there being there to aid him, Naruto's battle with the 6 Paths would go a lot smoother than it did originally, especially since Jiraiya would be there to rein him in once Naruto learns of Kakashi's death. In this timeline, Kakashi Hatake would be the first person that Naruto had ever lost, and knowing this would keep Jiraiya in the mind state of keeping Naruto focused on the battle and not allowing his emotions to cloud him. During the moments when he ran out of nature energy, Jiraiya could provide cover until Naruto's shadow clones managed to disperse, sending him nature energy in order to go into Sage Mode. Master and student would fight back to back, taking down the 6 Paths of Pain. Given how well Jiraiya fought alone against the 6 Paths of Pain without any information, I could see he and Naruto being able to take down the 6 Paths in a systematic method with moderate difficulty, since this time Jiraiya would have backup, and most importantly he would have intel. This would also mean that Hinata wouldn't rush out to save Naruto, confessing her love for him before Pain shoved his long thick black rod inside of her and waited graciously before he pulled it out of her. This means that Naruto would never lose control of the QB, which means he would never meet Minato. Naruto and Jiraiya Jiraiya would then reverse track Nagato, and this would be where a major change would occur. Having a double dosage of Talk no Jutsu would absolutely overwhelm Nagato, and I don't blame him. Can you imagine on one side Naruto giving you a Talk no Jutsu and then Jiraiya giving you a Talk no Jutsu? No thank you. Which would then lead to Nagato dying after using the Rini Rebirth to revive those who fell in Konoha. This would lead to a major change. Danzo would never be selected as the 6th Hokage candidate. In the manga, the feudal lord openly stated that he wished Jiraiya was still alive in order to take the position. With Tsunade out of action, Jiraiya would have no choice but to become the 6th Hokage, and he would quickly be approved by the Jonin Council. This leads to another major change. Jiraiya will likely go to the 5 Kage summit with Naruto and Kakashi as his bodyguards. Now, the reason being is that Naruto would insist on going, given the summit would be about addressing Sasuke joining the Akatsuki and capturing Killer Bee. While Yamato remained in Konoha to continue reconstruction, Naruto and Kakashi would be on hand the moment that Sasuke attacked the 5 Kage summit, which I do think will still happen. While Obito did use the fact that Danzo was Hokage and attending the 5 Kage summit as a way to manipulate Sasuke, it should be noted that upon learning the circumstances of the 5 Kage summit and that he was the topic of discussion, Sasuke flat out stated that the 5 Kage summit itself was a problem that needed to be addressed. Obito wanted Sasuke to test himself, and while having Danzo there was an added incentive, the threat of the 5 Kage was something that Sasuke and Obito both agreed was a problem that needed to be handled as soon as possible. Upon seeing the Raikage lead to confront Sasuke, Naruto would immediately run after him, which would then cause Kakashi to follow after Naruto, with Jiraiya trusting Kakashi to handle Naruto and Jiraiya knowing the bigger picture was more important, which was to eventually take down the Akatsuki. The resulting battle would be insane. Sasuke and Team Taka would have to fight the Raikage, Darui, and C, on top of having Naruto and Kakashi there as well. C would likely be taken out by Sasuke rather easily once Sasuke used Genjutsu, but after that, Sasuke is gonna have his hands full, even with Jugo and Suigetsu there. While the Jugo battle did happen, Sasuke would have to fight Kakashi, who has a Sharingan, and he would have Naruto to deal with Naruto having massive chakra reserves and likely having a clone somewhere that's gathering nature energy so Naruto can go into Sage mode. At some point, I could see the Raikage attempting to attack Naruto for getting in between him and Sasuke, and if this did happen, it will put Naruto in a hell of a position. Does he fight alongside Sasuke in order to take down the Raikage, or does he fight alongside the Raikage to subdue Sasuke and then plan to step in before the Raikage can kill Sasuke? If Kakashi did step in at any point, due to the huge power difference between himself and the Raikage and Sasuke, Kakashi would be taken out rather quickly before the battle can get too insane. Gar would still step in as he did originally, which would lead to Sasuke escaping and heading for the conference room. Due to Obito likely warping Sasuke's anger towards Jiraiya now being the Hokage, on top of already fueling his hatred for Danzo and the elders, I could see Sasuke confronting Jiraiya and the other Kages. At this point, the remaining Kage would absolutely wash Sasuke in a fight, which would lead to Obito stepping in to save Sasuke and then declaring the next great ninja war. I don't see Obito allowing Sasuke another chance to fight Jiraiya because it would further expose Obito to Kakashi, allowing them to interact yet again, which is something that Obito only allowed to happen in measured circumstances. Finally, and most importantly, Obito would have wanted Sasuke to fight Naruto in a more controlled situation, which is why I don't think a battle of Sasuke versus Jiraiya, Kakashi, and Naruto would occur. Sasuke's failure at the 5 Kage summit, as well as his deteriorating ocular powers, would lead to Sasuke taking Itachi's eyes and unlocking the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. At this point, nothing else would change. Tsunade will recover from a comatose state and reassume the mantle of Hokage, with Jiraiya willingly stepping down. Naruto was still going to train with Killer Bee in order to master the Kyuubi, since he would realize that he needed the power to stop Sasuke before things escalated any further. Because he would be aware of the fact that there would be a war going on, due to the fact that he accompanied Jiraiya to the summit, Naruto would take his training more urgently, and it would be a lot harder to keep him away from the battlefield, especially since Naruto would know that there would be people who were dying in order to protect him. Tsunade would then order Danzo's root ninja to participate in the war. However, Danzo would likely insist on going with Tsunade to Shinobi HQ, since it would be his root ninja who were being deployed to battle. From here, nothing else would change, with the exception being that Naruto likely enters the war well before dawn of day 2, and his fight with Itachi and Nagato would happen a lot sooner than it did originally, but due to Naruto not having any information about the truth behind the Uchiha massacre, Itachi would only learn that Sasuke joined Akatsuki and nothing more. Nothing else major would change until the battle with Obito. Given the high stakes nature of that battle, I could see Jiraiya being right there beside Kakashi and Guy as they help back up Naruto and Killer Bee in their battle against Obito, which would rage on until Madara Uchiha arrived, stating that he took down the 5 Kage. Hearing that Tsunade was potentially dead would enrage Jiraiya, but he would know better than to rush forward to fight Madara Uchiha without a plan being in place. The only real change that would happen would be when Madara and Naruto fought off screen, Jiraiya would be fighting alongside of him, and eventually the remainder of the Shinobi Alliance would arrive as well. Following his battle with Kabuto, Sasuke would still have Orochimaru reanimate the 4 dead Hokage using Edo Tensei, and Sasuke would enter the battlefield late at night of day 2 of the war. Given the enormous power of Madara, Obito, and the Ten Tails, Jiraiya being on the battlefield wouldn't change much of anything. If Jiraiya is nearby when the Jubi fires off his projectiles, then I could see Jiraiya dying instead of Neji. However, I do believe that Neji is the most likely candidate to give up his life because Hinata would likely have rushed to Naruto's side. Not much would change from here, though the idea of the 3 legendary Sannin fighting together alongside their students would be something really amazing to see, as with seeing Jiraiya being able to speak with Orochimaru once again, potentially mending fences between the 2 former comrades. Another awesome moment would be seeing Naruto, Jiraiya, and Minato fighting side by side with a combination of Sage Mode and Kyuubi Chakra Mode. By the time that Madara extracts the Kyuubi, seeing his godson's dying body would send Jiraiya into a rage, but given the massive power gap, if Jiraiya wasn't killed off immediately, then he would be seriously wounded, which I do think would be the case. If Jiraiya is wounded, which I do think would happen, I could see him being sucked into the infinite Tsukuyomi, where he would find himself surrounded by a plethora of big-breasted Kunoichi fawning over him as they told him that it was so amazing that he managed to find the answer to peace in this world of conflict. After the end of Naruto vs Sasuke, Jiraiya would receive a prosthetic arm like Naruto, but it would be in the moments afterwards that Jiraiya would look at his student and know that the day wouldn't be too far off where Naruto would become Hokage, and Jiraiya would then look over to Minato's face on the Hokage monument with a smile, thinking of Naruto standing under the Hokage monument, one day being named the next Hokage. And that's where I'm gonna leave things off to you guys. If this video once again hits 5,000 likes, then in less than a week I will make a part 2 to this video addressing Danzo's impact on the story for Naruto the Last and Boruto Naruto Next Generations, and Jiraiya's impact and interactions with Boruto and Himawari, with Jiraiya training Boruto. But as always guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day guys.